Hey there, this is the Top Floor Please podcast, where women in leadership rise together. I'm your host, Melissa McCormick, executive coach and founder of the Grace and Salt Leadership Academy. This is your space to find clarity, grow in confidence, and lead with bold authenticity. Whether you're navigating the boardroom, building your team, or stepping into new territory, you're not alone. Let's talk real challenges, real growth, and real leadership, because the top floor isn't just a place, it's a mindset. All right, let's get started.
Welcome to the Top Floor Please podcast. Welcome back. I'm Melissa McCormick, and today we're going to be talking about that dance between confidence and competence. Okay, the dance between confidence and competence. So, just a question for you today. Have you ever thought that once I feel confident, I'll go for that promotion? Like when I look at maybe there's a job posting in your organization and you're like, I don't have all the I don't have all the job requirements. I don't have all of the degrees. I don't have the experience. They're asking for 8 years and I have 6, or I don't meet every little thing that they have on that job on the job offer or the posting. Have you ever thought about that? Have you thought, well, once I go, I'm going to go back and get my degree, or I don't have a degree, therefore I'm not qualified? That is baloney. Okay, so we're going to just start that right here and now. I've thought that millions of times. I'm going to tell you a story that is actually quite embarrassing. So I'm going to say this is between you and I. Like nobody else is going to hear this. This is just between you and I because it's pretty vulnerable. But back in the day, I was let's see, where was I at in my career? I think I was the director of key account sales on the domestic side. So I was responsible for, I could have been a because there was two of us at the time, and then I think I went to the only one, but there was two of us at the time. I was responsible for the West, and Gary was responsible for the East. And I had my boss at the time had asked me to come into his office, and he was going to give me a promotion. And he thought that I was ready to be the vice president of sales, domestic sales. And I talked him out of it. I did. I was such a good salesperson. I unsold him. So through this conversation, because in my head, I'm like, oh no, I'm not ready. I don't have this experience. I don't have this experience. I need this. I need that. Blah, 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 blah. I need all these things. This is what's going on in my head. So as he's telling me, Melissa, you're ready. You are ready. And I would love to promote you to vice president of domestic sales, which was one of my goals. But I did not have confidence in myself. I had competence. I did not have confidence. And so I talked him out of it. And so at the end of this conversation, he goes, okay, well then, all right, then maybe you're not ready. Okay, come back to me when you're ready. And I left. I couldn't believe I did it. I couldn't believe that I didn't believe in myself. And they ended up hiring somebody else. And I'm thinking, I could like work circles around this person. Why in the world did I think I wasn't qualified for this job? So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about that mindset, that whole thing about how do we overcome if we don't have the confidence, but we know we have the competence. How do we overcome that? How do we get the confidence in order to say yes to that job promotion that you so deserve, or apply for that promotion or that other job that really is good for not only you personally, but also for the company? All right, so we're going to break that down. Okay, I just want to get my notes out here. Okay, super. So the first one is we are going to start small, but start now. Start small, but start now, right? Confidence grows through action. The more you do, the more competent you feel, and that builds confidence. So what is it in your world that you could do today so what is it? Where do you want to go? I guess that's kind of my question. Let's back up a second. Where do you want to go? In my case, with my story, I wanted to be vice president. And so how do I get from where I was to to that level? And how do I build that confidence? Like, what is the first thing I need to do in order to build my confidence that, yes, I am competent to do that? What does that look like? So I'm going to ask you that question. What is it that you could do right now? Like, don't wait. Don't be thinking, well, next year I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to get my degree. Okay. Is a degree required for what you want to do? If yes, then why not start right now? There are so many online programs, and all of the education system has been totally disrupted from back in my day. Start now. There are so many programs that you don't have to wait until the semester starts in August. You could start right now. You could take one class. You don't have to take, you don't have to go for the full blown, I'm going to get my master's, or I'm going to get my bachelor's, or I'm going to get whatever. Just take one class. Take it specifically on what it is that you want to improve, but start now. Now, it doesn't have to be education. It could be experience. It could be, you know what, I'm very nervous with networking. I'm uncomfortable with it when I'm speaking to somebody who has a CEO title. I just get tongue tied. I don't know what to say, right? If that's you, then practice that skill. Intentionally go to networking events, study networking. What does that look like? It's honestly, it's all about making friends. That's really what it's all about. And forgetting that people have titles. They put their pants on the same way you do, one leg at a time. Okay. So start small, start now. All right. The second one is track your wins, document your progress. Small wins stacked up consistently over time that reinforces both competence and belief. So, another story. Believe it or not, there was a day when I did not speak up. I think I may have mentioned this in previous podcasts. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember, but there was a day. And so I had this amazing coach. So the same boss who I had unsold and talked him out of the promotion. Once I got the promotion, then he had enrolled me in a really cool leadership development program through Carrier. And I had the luxury, the benefit of a career coach. And her name was Diane. She was from Virginia, and she was amazing. She was an amazing coach. The first time I'd ever had a coach, and then felt the power of a coach. But anyway, so one of the things that we were working on was speaking up, because I would go into meetings and there was a couple people in particular that really intimidated me. I didn't know the language they were speaking. It was like all this crazy stuff and production stuff and purchasing stuff, and I didn't understand it. And I was too uncomfortable or intimidated to ask them, hey, what are you talking about? Anyway, so Diane, my coach, had said, Melissa, I want you to speak up. The next time you go to this meeting, I want you to speak up. And then I want you to document it. So I did that. The first time I spoke, no, but like it was crickets. And I'm thinking, I spoke English. I know I spoke English. I spoke out loud, pretty sure I spoke out loud, but nobody was saying anything. Like they just kind of all went, oh, okay. So I don't know. I mean, I probably was very, my voice was probably soft, and you could tell I was unsure of what I was saying. And I probably ended it with a question. And so as far as I'm concerned, I crashed and burned. So I wrote that down. So at the next coaching session with Diane, she says, how'd it go? I said, well, I did it. I spoke up. And I wrote it down, and I wrote how I felt afterwards, and I wrote the response, but I crashed and burned. Like nobody said anything. And she was clapping her hands. She's like, Melissa, congratulations. Thank you so much for doing that. That was the first step. Now you need to celebrate. You spoke up. Who cares what happened? You spoke up. So celebrate it. So I kept tracking and tracking and tracking until pretty soon they couldn't shut me up because I was so comfortable with speaking up. So I'm telling you, tracking your wins, tracking what you do, tracking the date, what you did, and the response, and then just keep tracking that and reviewing it. It does work. So the first one is I want you to start small and start now. The second one is I want you to track your wins. What is it that you are going to be focusing on? And then track that and celebrate, no matter what the outcome is. Celebrate the fact that you took that step and you did it. Number 3 is borrow some confidence, right? When you don't feel it yet, Borrow it from preparation, from past success, or a mentor who believes in you. Find that person that knows what you want to do and knows that, okay, I'm focusing on networking. And so I'm going in there and I'm going to come out with three new friends, three new people, three new contacts, three new whatever. And you come out with one. I want you to go to that mentor, and that mentor is going to say, you know what, congratulations, you have one more than you had when you went in. I know your goal was three, but you got one. That's fantastic. And congratulations, right? But they also are your accountability buddy. So, all right. So this is how we're going to start building our confidence. Okay. You're going to start small, start now. You're going to track your wins, and you're going to borrow confidence. You're going to borrow that confidence from preparing. Preparing is super important, especially like, let's just say you're going to go networking. Then what are you going to say? Like, get your mentor and sit down and role play with that person. Practice, because it's going to be so easy to hang out at the bar or hang out in the bathroom or find your friend and hang out with them, and you walk, and then you had an evening of just conversation with a friend that you would have had anyway, right? You want to meet new people. So that's what you're going to do. Again, that's just an example. All right, so here's your grace and salt coaching moment. Confidence isn't a personality trait. It's a skill. You can build it with repetition, reflection, and resilience. All right, let's try that again. Confidence isn't a personality trait. It's a skill. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. Confidence is a skill? Seriously? Yeah, think about it. You have to practice. It's muscle memory, and that's what builds the confidence. It's a skill. So think of it in that way, and it will build, right? As if you look at whatever skill it is that you are trying to overcome or you're trying to enhance, and you're building that confidence, that comes with it. So you can build your confidence with repetition. That's what we've been talking about, practice, reflection, that's tracking those wins, and resilience by continuing to do it. Don't give up. So your action step today, I want you to choose one thing that you've been putting off because you don't feel ready, right? Take one imperfect step forward and watch what happens. Take that step forward, track that wins, and borrow that confidence. All right. So, what is it that you haven't been doing because you're not ready? Do not unsell your boss when they come to you. Or, I mean, I'm just honestly, I'm super grateful that he did come to me, because for the longest time I was waiting for somebody to come to me, and then when I told him what I wanted to do, then he was like, oh, Melissa, there is a spot here. Now this was months or years later, after I had admitted to him what I wanted to be when I grew up at the company. And so he was reaching out, he was doing exactly what I wanted him to do, but I was freaked. I didn't know how to handle it. Do not be me. Do not. If your boss has the fortitude and the just the proactiveness to reach out, because many bosses don't have the time or they don't think about that. So if your boss thinks about that and comes to you and says, hey, I think you're ready for XYZ, you say, yes, I am, but I need some help, right? That's what I should have said. I should have said, okay, I'm up for it, but I'm going to need some help. And I know he would have said, yep, I get that. No problem. I'm your safety net. It's okay. But instead, I unraveled it. So do not do that. So your action step again today is choose that one thing that you've been putting off because you're not ready. And then take that one step and continue and continue and continue. So, all right, that's it for today. And I thank you so much. I cannot wait to hear how you're doing and get your feedback on this type of just if this worked for you. I really want to know if there's other topics that you'd love for us to share then, or you'd like me to dig into. Please let us know. Put it on social media, send us an email, however you do that. But I do, if you love this episode, I want you to share it, tag it, anybody who needs to hear it, and be sure to subscribe. Like somewhere in here is like the subscribe button or the download button or the like button, right? Follow button. We need more followers so that we can reach more people. And if you loved what you heard here, I've said this before, so if you are a faithful follower, you've heard of this. But if you're not, if you're new to the Grace and Salt Leadership Academy, then, and you want to know more, reach out to us at graceandsaltleadership.com. And we will talk to you about our signature program, the Esther Project, as well, which is an online group coaching program. And so we do a lot of this, and we help ladies speak up and gain confidence. All right, everybody, that's what I have for today. And I wish you all the best.
Thanks for hanging out on the top floor. If today's episode gave you something to think about or a little boost, share it with your friend and keep the momentum going. And hey, if you're ready to find your voice and lead with clarity and confidence, check out the Esther Project. It's our foundational program at Grace and Salt, and it's built for women like you who are ready to rise. You can learn more at graceandsaltleadership.com. I'll drop the link in the show notes, and remember, you don't have to lead like everyone else, just lead like you. All right, I'll see you next time.